Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Ethan Peck admits to feeling terrified when Star Trek Strange New Worlds does risky episodes. Peck portrays the cool and logical Lieutenant Spock in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Big swings into various TV genres test his acting skills as the unflappable Vulcan science officer. Star Trek Strange New Worlds breaks new ground by consistently innovating new ways to present Star Trek. From Star Trek's first ever musical episode, to comedic romps, to a Hollywood murder mystery directed by Jonathan Frakes in Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3, the show's big swings are a challenge for Ethan Peck to play Spock. Ethan Peck joined Paramount Plus as Peak Talk, where host Joshua Horowitz asked him whether he enjoys Star Trek Strange New Worlds Big Swings. Peck reveals he feels some terror about the specific issues he encounters while playing Spock in Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 was the most genre-indulgent season yet. For Ethan Peck, it meant a great deal of dancing as Spock started a romance with Lieutenant Lon Noonien Singh Christina Chong, where they grew closer and more intimate as they revealed their innermost feelings through their dance lessons. For some Star Trek fans, however, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 delved too far into its big swings. Some vocal detractors felt that Season 3 wasn't Star Trek enough, in favor of wacky hijinks, with Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 8, 4½ Vulcans, in particular, drawing a great deal of fan ire. However, it's fascinating to hear how Star Trek Strange New Worlds Big Swings challenge Ethan Peck, who points out he plays the character on the Starship Enterprise with the most rigid set of rules, which were laid down by Leonard Nimoy and Zachary Quinto. Peck admirably finds a way to protect Spock's integrity even when the Vulcan dances and sings. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4, which premieres in 2026, will have more big swings, like an episode where the Starship Enterprise's crew is turned into puppets. But no matter what terror Ethan Peck may feel, he buries it and does his job to the best of his ability, just like Spock would. For decades, Star Trek has thrived on pushing boundaries, philosophical, emotional, and occasionally cosmic. But even within a franchise defined by the phrase boldly go, few actors have been thrust into the kind of genre-bending, expectation-defying challenges that Ethan Peck, the latest face to wear the pointed ears of Spock, faces on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And now, as the series takes even more creative leaps with a slate of risky upcoming episodes, Peck has made a candid confession that has fans buzzing. "I'm terrified, not in a fearful for his job way, not in a Hollywood tantrum way, but in the purest, most Star Trek way possible. Terrified because the show is daring to experiment in ways that could either cement its legacy as the boldest modern Trek series, or send it spiraling into uncharted territory where even Vulcan logic can't help." When Ethan Peck first debuted as Spock in Star Trek Discovery, fans were skeptical. Spock is sacred ground. He's not just a character, he's an icon, a cultural landmark, a performance that Leonard Nimoy shaped with decades of nuance and spiritual control. Anyone stepping into those boots risks more than criticism. They risk being forever compared to one of sci-fi's greatest legends. Peck embraced that risk with quiet determination. But Strange New Worlds added a second layer of challenge. The writers would not confine him to traditional Spock beats. Romance? Check. Comedy? Check. Musical numbers? Alternate realities? Wacky body swaps? And episodes where logic itself seems useless? Check. Check. And check. This season, Peck revealed, takes that daring spirit even further. "I'm terrified," he admitted in a recent interview, "because we're doing things I never expected Star Trek would try, and I have to trust it." That trust, the trust between actor and writers, between performer and legacy, is at the heart of Strange New Worlds' charm. But it's also why this confession landed like a photon torpedo among fans. If Spock is scared, perhaps the galaxy really is about to get weird. Strange New Worlds built its identity on episodic experimentation. While other Trek shows lean heavily into serialization, S&W thrives on genre anthologies. One week, a tense submarine-style standoff. The next, a full comedic romp. Then, a heartbreaking tragedy. Then, a crossover with Lower Decks that defies every rule of the franchise while honoring all of them. It's chaotic, audacious, and addictive. This season, insiders tease that the experimental tone will escalate. New genres, new emotional extremes. A Spock-centered episode unlike anything attempted before. Peck has always been game, but he admits this time the risks feel larger. It's scary to take such big swings, he said, but the beauty of Trek is that it lets us try. That vulnerability, an actor acknowledging the fear behind the art, is uniquely human. And ironically, it's the kind of emotional complexity that modern Star Trek loves to explore through Spock. Spock versus himself. Peck's Spock is caught between two worlds, Vulcan logic and human emotion. This duality gives the writers permission to push him into places Nimoy's version rarely visited. Episodes involving romance, heartbreak, jealousy, and even comedic frustration have allowed Peck to show sides of Spock that feel contemporary yet respectful. The new risky episodes reportedly push that duality to extremes. One episode is said to blur the lines between Spock's human and Vulcan instincts more than any storyline since the original series. Another may place him in a scenario where logic becomes a hindrance rather than an asset. It's no wonder Peck is nervous. Spock is a balancing act, and a single misstep risks breaking the illusion. But perhaps that's the point. Even icons must evolve. The show that dares to play. What makes Strange New Worlds especially bold is that it refuses to be predictable. The showrunners trust the audience to embrace surprise, whether it's a whimsical genre shift or a deeply emotional detour. They let us play, Peck said previously, and this season, the sandbox may be larger and stranger than ever. For an actor, playing in that sandbox means embracing uncertainty. An episode might require classical dramatic technique one week, musical theater flair the next, and then a full sci-fi philosophical debate the week after that. Actors dream of range. You don't always dream of whiplash. But Peck's willingness to open up about that fear is a testament to how seriously he takes the role. Why his fear is good for the show? There's a reason fans immediately rallied behind Peck's confession. Because fear in art often means growth. Because taking risks is exactly what Gene Roddenberry intended. Because some of the greatest Star Trek moments were born from gambles. The city on the edge of forever was nearly rejected for being too emotional. The Inner Light became a classic despite breaking the show's structural rules. The Trouble with Tribbles was once considered too silly. Risk, in Trek, is tradition. Peck's anxiety means Strange New Worlds is still taking chances, still refusing to play safe, still pushing characters and actors into unexplored territory. If an actor feels fear, the art probably has teeth. A Spock for a new generation. Ethan Peck isn't just carrying a role. He's carrying a legacy across decades of fandom, and doing it at a time when expectations are sky high and social media amplifies every critique. Yet his Spock resonates because he brings vulnerability to the stoic science officer. His openness about being terrified reflects the tension fans see in Spock himself, the internal struggle between control and emotion, between order and chaos, between what is expected and what is possible. In that sense, Peck's fear isn't weakness, it's authenticity. And authenticity is what makes this version of Star Trek feel alive. The future of Strange New Worlds. What will these risky episodes bring? More genre experimentation? A new twist in Spock's emotional evolution? An episode that breaks the rules of Trek storytelling entirely? Whatever comes, Peck's honesty has set the stage for a season defined by boldness. Fans aren't worried by his fear. They're excited by it, because if even Spock is feeling something powerful, something uncertain, something bordering on thrilling chaos, then Strange New Worlds must be gearing up for something extraordinary. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.